My name is Brandon Blau. I am Springfield's fire chief. We have been working on putting together a plan for 3 new stations in Springfield. Roy Mangan is from Arc Images. He is on the architecture team. We've been working hand in hand as far as making sure that this project goes smoothly. We think that at this point, this one is the farthest forward that we have with this. We have an opportunity. I know that Alderwoman Conley has gotten some feedback from some people in the neighborhood that wanted to have some questions answered and wanted us to show you where we were at on this. So we thought tonight, weather permitting, was going to be a good night to do that. So hopefully we can keep that away. But we'll go ahead and jump into this. And a lot of people ask why Station 8? And there's a lot of reasons, but as everybody knows, the continued expansion and growth on the west side, and now that growth is moving far and farther to the northwest side. We have a lot of new homes going in out in this area. We expect that to continue. When we start on a fire station project, it's not just about replacing what we have now and making sure that it's in the right place for now. We have to think about what's going into, these are 50, 60, 70-year projects. The house that we're replacing right now was built in '68. So, that it's served its purpose, it's done a great job, but we think that as the population continues to migrate to the west, we know that that's going to continue to happen, that this was a good place to put that in. Like I said, Station 8 was built in '68. Back in 1968, the average fire truck was about 5 to 8 feet shorter. As far as length goes, they were shorter in height. The people were smaller. All of our parents and grandparents are not as big as some of us are now. So the space requirements that were necessary at that point were not quite as great. At the same time, those older fire stations, and at that point in time, we didn't understand about the carcinogens that our people face right now. We didn't know that there was going to be a pandemic that was going to come along, that we were going to need to have extra storage space for medical supplies, and making sure that we could clean everything up so that we were ready to go for the next time that we went into a home that might have somebody who was infected. So built into what we're doing now are those spaces so that we can keep both ourselves and everybody that we serve clean. So this house is larger. It is different than what they were building in 1968. And quite frankly, we put a lot of money into Station 8 where it's at right now. Roads are expensive when you're talking about commercial structures. Air conditioning is expensive. All of those things, it's an energy efficiency nightmare. You can feel the wind blow through that place. So it's one of those things that when we have an opportunity to put something newer together, that we're going to see a lot of cost savings for the taxpayers too, and so far as what our electric bills and all that kind of stuff is too. Everybody who's here is probably from the neighborhood. They understand the congestion that occurs up at Walnut and Chatham Road. So that is one of the other reasons why we have been lucky the last decade or so and had a few close calls. We haven't had anybody get injured in that intersection because of a fire truck. But every time we go into that intersection, it is dangerous. So taking ourselves away from that, and then we also know that next door, Starbucks has created a situation there with people waiting in line, and that makes it worse. If we can remove one of the things that contribute to that being a dangerous intersection, it'll make it better for everybody who lives in the neighborhood. So proximity dispatching is a project that we're working on that is GPS based, and it is just what it says. The computer will take a look at where the emergency is. All of our fire trucks have GPS on them. It will know by looking at the map which fire truck will get there faster. Not necessarily which one's closer, but which one will get there faster. It will take into account which roads it has to go down, whether or not it has to go around a strange way to get to something. So just because we're moving this firehouse further to the west doesn't mean that it would have been the fire station that would have sent a fire truck to you anyway. It may be faster for us to send one from over on Glenwood or on North Grand Avenue or even down further on Chatham Road. So all of those things are coming into play at the same time. The proximity dispatching, though, is one of those things where, if you think that, you live in to the east of where Station 8 is now, that, well, they're right down the road from me, and if they move, then we're going to be farther away. An argument that you're always going to get, well, we're going to be closer to somebody and farther away from somebody else with that. But you're still going to be covered in that 4-minute range, especially when that proximity dispatching comes into play. There's a couple of maps that we're going to put up here now, and I'll show you what I mean. This is the current area where we're at. You can see that this is Chatham Road, and that is West Monroe. And you can see that it comes out here. What looks like Old Timber Canoe is the road right there, which is just beyond the tip of where we can get in 4 minutes. Now, when we built these polygons show a 4-minute response time from where the station itself is. That is based on a 30-mile-an-hour speed to get anywhere, which most of our fire trucks on the way to emergencies are going faster than that. So this is a conservative math. If I'm only going 30 miles an hour, I can get to these areas. When we're in areas where we can go faster than that, obviously that polygon gets larger. So these are conservative. The proposed area, you can see right here how much extra space to the west that we're able to cover. Now this space to the east from the new site is not going to be within the 4-minute response time from the new station, but as we show on the next slide, it is able to be covered by one of the other stations. So what we've been able to build into the response times in the city of Springfield, we've been lucky enough, is to have a little bit of overlapping coverage in almost all of the districts. So what happens is just inherently, you can see some areas that have all sorts of different colors here that overlap. That means that engine 7 and engine 3 and engine 8 can all get to that area within 4 minutes. Why is this important? It's important because we run 22,000 calls a year. So sometimes engine 8 is not going to be in its station anyway. So you're going to get engine 3 or engine 7. But they're still going to be within that 4-minute response time. So that's what I wanted to show with this. This does a little bit better illustration of the red line is the 4-minute currently, but you can see that there's only one area up there, there's a little donut. And once again, that's if we were only going 30 miles an hour that we're not going to get to. So hopefully at some point that also will be included in that blue shaded areas too, as the population grows out to the northwest there.
The elevations that we are looking at right now, we've designed these to create a masonry exterior. We've got some stone accents that we're utilizing for the aesthetics, looking at an earth tone palette. A lot of the exterior walls insulation and window systems with door systems are all going to be thermally utilized to meet the energy codes and or exceed those. As Chief said, a lot of the older houses are drafty, a lot of the efficiencies are gone. We're very conscious of all the door seals and a lot of the other building materials to make sure that they are very efficient as far as energy codes go. And then looking at it from the other side, you can see that we're taking the scale of the building and utilizing the large house part, or the large apparatus bay part, breaking that up, letting some daylight in, creating a sense of entry, and then the exterior house. So Chief, that is kind of the presentation that I had set up for the architectural part of it. And I think you had mentioned you wanted to open it up then for some questions.
I did. If you want to back it up, sure. Back it up to the floor plan. A couple of the things that we've learned over the last couple of years with the pandemic is that when looking forward with these new structures is to make sure that we built in some places, some spaces in these new stations where if we had something like this happen again, and one of those that we put in is that lawn equipment. It says lawn equipment area up there, but what it's going to be is it's going to have nudo board in it. It's going to be able to be converted so that if we needed to use it as a place to give any type of medical exams or give shots or any of that kind of stuff, it'll be a large enough space, it'll be conditioned space so that we can make sure that if we had to do a makeshift, if we had another period of time when we have something like this happen again, that it's on the exterior of the building, it's separated from the rest of our living space, that we are looking forward to make sure that if this happens again, that we can utilize that space for the community so that they can come and either get any type of medical treatment they may have, and we don't know what's going to happen down the road, but we wanted to put that as a space that was convertible for multiple types of uses. So, and I didn't speak about that a little earlier, so I wanted to make sure that I threw that in. Does anybody have any questions for us? Denise is going to write the question, and then we'll try and answer it. And if we can't answer it, then we'll take your name and all that kind of stuff, and we'll get back to you on that. Any questions for us?
I'll start out.
Sure.
So if we go back to the coverage map, and you clearly said that under the new proposal that the assumption being made is 30 miles an hour. And we've all seen engines throughout our community over the years that are going much faster than 30 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is that the area on the northwest, like in Salem Estates and areas out there are not nearly presently in the 4-minute coverage area.
Right.
Realistically are going to be, even though it's...
Absolutely. Yes, that's the goal. And just so you know, our rules state that on emergency calls that we're not supposed to go over 10 miles an hour with the speed limit. Obviously, when we get things in place, like the mayor and the fire department have worked together to get preemption in place, that helps as well because we're not having to stop for at those intersections. That'll also improve those times. We already have a plan to extend that to the northwest, actually to all 4 corners of the city. But the northwest was the next one. Actually, one of my deputy chiefs was up in Chicago today, learning more about that. So once we do that, we go way out. Dan, he's worked at 8 for a significant portion of time. We go miles out to the northwest. Just because, Salisbury is how far we sometimes respond. So we weren't going to get to Salisbury in 4 minutes. Can we have a helicopter there? We can get a helicopter, maybe we can do it. But yeah, that's every inch that we can get to get someplace faster, because especially when you're talking about heart attacks, you're talking about strokes. You only have so much time to get to people, so we're doing the absolute best we can to make sure that we can get into those areas, and we know that they are going to continue to grow. Other questions? Your job's easy.
Easy. I like it.
Yep.
Chief, and I just wanted, because we've talked about this before, the biggest concerns that I've heard from people are from the older neighborhoods.
Sure.
And so obviously, I'm going to take pictures of these too, but
I will send you copies of all.
I like the color, I like the color coded ones. So you've really, it actually looks like we're expanding overlaps.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we get farther west, and the overlap coverage to the south of there obviously grows a little bit too for the people closer to our engine 12. But if I thought that it was going to put people who are closer to town at risk, then I wouldn't be interested in doing the project. Unfortunately, anytime that you try and grow an area, then there is going to be places where we're not. It's just inherent in our business. But we're very confident with the placement that we've been able to have over the years, as far as having other engines cover those districts. That those people are still going to be, we're still going to be there within 4 minutes. I think that, I would bet you that Engine 7 in a lot of these areas right now already go to those people on occasion anyway. Yeah.
And then so for preemption, are you looking at the intersection with Lawrence and Veterans Parkway? Can we do that
Yes,
one?
yes.
Because that's.
Yes, I think that it's been a while since I've looked at that map, but it basically, right now it stops at Isles and Veterans and would come and hit everything to the north all the way to Jefferson. And then it will also branch east and west a little bit on off of Veterans as far as down West Monroe, down West Washington. There'll be some intersections that
Like
will.
Skokie Road?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah, and I'll look that up again too, and I'll send that to you so that you have it.
Do you have like a timeline for when that would happen?
For preemption, it's not a front burner project. I only have so many burners, but right now we already did the work as far as putting the intersections together.
Okay.
Essentially, each phase has between 16 and 20 intersections, and this is phase 2. And it just goes clockwise from the southwest was where we started, obviously. But I mean, it's not going to take a long time for us to plan more for. It's going to be the install, doing the bidding of who's going to do the install and that kind of stuff. And also, I have to come and make sure that we have funding for that. So, and it'll probably be a little bit more expensive than it was last time, just because everything is. And last time it was a little over $100,000 to put that in, which $100,000 to increase your response times into some areas that you have trouble doing so, I think is a good investment considering, the size of the budget. All right, well, that's all we have for you tonight. If you think of anything else, feel free to contact the fire department at 788-8474. You can ask for me, Brandon Blau. We also have a Facebook page. Go to the city's site and they can direct you to anybody over at the fire department. They can help you with that as well. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.